In this factory tour, Enoch speaks with Jared from 7-4 Grills and Fossil Industries. We'll explore Fossil Industries' role as manufacturer of 7-4 Grills, followed by a behind-the-scenes look at how these grills are made and the story behind both brands. This episode is brought to you by EXPO.
So this is actually a prototype of a pellet smoker that we're coming out with.
Nice.
We're building everything from the ground up. Everything's built here in this shop except for our electronics, which is actually built locally. That's one of our holdups. Is it's kind of hard to get electronics built in America, but we're doing our best, and it's coming along. Just taking a little longer than we would hope. But this will be releasing soon. We've obviously already used this one.
It's been put through its paces at this point.
Yeah, right? A lot of good lunches on this.
Nice.
So far. So that'll be coming soon. And we also have an offset smoker based off this same platform that will be coming out actually before this, just because there's no electronics involved in it. So it's a little quicker to market.
Very cool. Very cool.
So that's
and
coming
this is
very
all
soon.
made here in-house.
All made here in-house. The pellet smoker will be 100% stainless steel.
Okay.
This is a small pack up and go type of grill.
Okay.
So this is showing the propane setup in it. And then this is one we cook on all the time.
Oh, so it's like a modular style, so you can use both.
Yeah, so you can use
different types of fuels.
Wood, coal, or like lump charcoal, briquettes, or the propane.
Very cool.
And we cook lunch on this most every day. I've actually even cooked, that's what this is on there for. I cooked pizza on it.
Very nice. So it creates like a little oven with the top part.
Right.
Very cool. So I'm seeing a lot of kind of like little slides and looks like hinge points. So is this a collapsible unit as well?
Yeah, so everything folds up into the chimney, including the propane kit will actually fit inside this chimney.
Oh, very cool.
And then this chimney just folds down, the lid goes on, and it is
so it's
25
just a
pounds.
nice little box.
It also, you can fit this in there. All of this stuff that's sitting right here will fit in this chimney once it's folded up. So
nice.
It's pretty, it's not light. It's 26 pounds,
Yep.
but it fits in your trunk, behind the seat of your truck.
That's perfect.
It's pretty handy deal.
Very cool.
And it's kind of like a cross between a hibachi type thing and a rocket stove.
Okay.
So you put wood in there vertically up here, and this thing will just rip. And in about 15 minutes, all that wood is just hot coals. So you cook over the hot coals.
And then you just bring it into the cook area?
Yeah, the grate will actually tilt out of the way if you didn't have the propane kit in here, and you'll just pull your ashes or your coals out there and cook. That way you don't have the big flare-ups, and you can control temperature that way rather than just have a flame right underneath.
Very nice.
But it takes some getting used to, cooking over wood over like a propane or something like that, but it's way more fun and tastes so much better.
Tastes so much. I would agree with that. I'm a big fan of the campfire cooking.
So this is our Ember XL. That's the Ember.
Okay.
This is our Ember XL. So this is just 3 times as big, basically. So you have the same chimney. This one also folds down.
Nice.
So that's the same kind of, although this doesn't pack up quite as tight, and it's 100 pounds. Again, all stainless, but you just got a lot more cooking surface. So like that one's good for probably up to 4 people.
Okay.
This one you can do, a whole party type deal. And you can move all of these independent, so you can control temperature that way. You can have, we have griddles, so a solid plate for this. Or and then you can have one griddle down here and one up here for different temperatures. And so it's pretty modular. Same way though, you just rake the coals from the chimney area right over underneath. And obviously we use this one already. We can't.
I love the, it's simple, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Nice little logo, easy. You just go in and just pull your coals around.
We use all these products pretty much every day. This one's a little bit big for what we're doing, but we cook on that most every day. We've been smoking.
Is this for propane option?
No, this is actually
like
these drawers or these things come off. There's already one in there.
Those are vent holes.
So you actually put this inside there.
Gotcha. Just reducing weight.
Just packing it up tighter. So, and it actually had this. Here's it with legs.
Cool.
So the legs are designed to actually fit inside of here.
Okay.
These two tables will pack inside of this here,
Mm-hmm.
and then you flip this down, and that again slides in your truck. And I showing basically you can take that and set it on a table, or
Yep.
you can set it up independently on its own legs.
Right,
But that's
right.
all fits inside of itself.
I love the
basically.
modular design that you guys have come up with. That's really handy. It gives people options, and they can use it in any kind of scenario that they want it to.
Right. And like I said, it's not light. It's 14 gauge, and this is double walled 14 gauge. So we're pushing 100 pounds on this thing. So
Gotcha.
you're not strapping it to your back going up back country.
So
But,
I'm taking that for a hike, man.
yeah, you can definitely throw it in the back of the pickup and take it along if you were going to have an extended weekend or something. If you're just doing for a day or something like that, the small
This
Ember
little
is
guy is
perfect.
probably good.
Take
Right.
it fishing. You can cook the fish right there on the bank.
Typically, when you're outdoors, you can find some wood laying around.
Yeah, well, and
Yeah,
actually, that's
haul
an
it in too.
interesting story. We originally built it for the wood, and people at the shows were asking, like, can you burn propane in this? And we're like, why would you want to burn propane?
Right.
Well, being from Pennsylvania, we didn't realize or didn't think about it, I guess. Not everybody can walk outside and pick up a stick
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
go into the woods and get. I mean, we have abundance of wood when you go camping and stuff. And the other reason is the burn bans. We don't typically have burn bans.
That's what I was gonna say. Out west, there's so
Yeah.
many burn bans.
So the propane kind of fills that
Right.
that hole
Yeah.
there for you.
Yeah.
But
And since it's off the ground and everything, that's completely legal
right.
in the burn ban states.
Yep.
So that works out perfect. For
So
both
the nice
places.
thing is you can go out west and use propane. You come east camping, you can go find wood, or you can bring a bag of lump charcoal or something like that.
Burn some wet wood. In a facility like this, you guys are making all of this stuff here. How are you achieving that? Like, what kind of machinery? I mean, there's a little bit of something in the background here. It might lead toward that. But explain to us kind of the process in which to accomplish these products that you have here.
So to start with the owner of the company, Jim Rose. He's kind of the brains behind most of this stuff.
Mhm.
And he kind of has a concept in his brain, and he wants to get it on paper, which we always joke, like these are all Jim's little pet project type things as
Gotcha.
far as he wants to get them out of his head on paper. And
Yep.
so it starts with him and our designers who are upstairs. And they sit down and they design this on CAD, and then they send it down here and we cut it right here on our sheet laser,
Okay.
which this is our automated system.
Gotcha.
So all of these, this is our tower, which is a storage rack.
I was
And each
gonna-
one of those light gray shelves is got different materials on it.
Okay.
And when we
And
bring
by
the
materials, you're talking like different metals. I mean,
different
or like
thickness, it could
completely
be
different
aluminum, it
materials.
could be stainless, it could be carbon. We told it what we stored in those shelves.
Okay. Gotcha.
When we put it in there.
Right.
But then when we call out, we need 18 gauge stainless steel. The machine will automatically come to this, robotically bring the shelf down, suction cup to the sheet of steel, bring it over and set it right on our table.
Gotcha.
The tables go into the machine automatically. It'll cut its program, shift the plate back out. These forks right above the table.
Yep.
We'll come down, lift that all the cut parts and the skeleton. It comes
okay.
off of there.
Yep.
We never touch it. It goes over, and the tables are actually outside the
Okay,
fence
so
area.
that comes back in.
Right, that'll
And
come in
then-
here, and the forks will bring it over and just drop our cut parts on it. So if we were doing a run of 100 grills or something like that, it'll cut all those parts, stack all those sheets of parts on the table, and we never have touched them yet. So the machine just keeps loading and cutting, loading and cutting.
Nice.
There's no human downtime or anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I noticed the fence around it. It's like a no human zone essentially. Like
yeah.
don't even go inside of this space.
Yeah, it's very well protected. You can't get in there without breaking a laser beam or climbing over a fence.
And and I'm assuming those are all safety features because you know this would obviously not be a good thing. For
There's
human.
so many moving parts on this thing, you don't know where to stand if you were inside of there.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool.
So once the parts come out, we can just unload them with the forklift, which we can walk over there and check it
let's
out.
take a peek at it.
We unload it with the forklift over here, and then it'll go to the area where we bust out parts.
Okay. And then this is like recycling scrap.
Yeah, that's the scrap that we can't really do much with.
Gotcha.
These are just spare. Like we do a lot of prototyping here.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
this
You
is
gotta
kind
keep.
of a little one-offs type
Right.
of thing.
You're like that's big enough to make some fun things out of.
Yeah. So this is a
here
skeleton
we
from
go.
a customer's. We cut a lot of parts for other people. These
Okay.
machines, especially this sheet laser, can cut more parts than we could put together in the shop.
That's fair. So
And,
you want to utilize the machine as much as possible.
Right.
So as a side benefit to your current company that you guys, 74 Grill, you're also able to outsource that free time on the machines.
Correct.
Very
And we
cool.
do so under Fossil Industries.
Okay.
So Fossil Industries is the actual machine shop that does all the forming and laser cutting.
Okay.
And then 74 is the company that sells the grills.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But Fossil would be who we do for other customers.
Okay. So all together, brother, sister, company, all that
Right.
good stuff.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So here's where the parts would come out. And then they would unload these we just cut some pretty big parts here.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And
Kind of gauges that. Nice and thin. No problem for a laser.
Yeah.
How thick can you cut?
this will cut 1 inch.
Oh, wow.
And I actually have a plate
Okay.
over here that I can show you. I always keep this back here because it's impressive.
Ho, 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 ho.
This is a piece of 1 inch.
I don't think I've ever actually held a piece of 1 inch plate before.
That was a test to set the machine up.
Oh my goodness.
And you can see, we didn't clean anything up or anything. That's just how it cuts.
Yep.
1 inch steel.
You can see the little laser. That is super cool. The things that need a 1 inch thick plate of metal, like that's got to be a massive machine or like.
So this is a 10K laser.
Uh-huh.
They have bigger ones now. I'm not sure you're talking big rock trucks and bulldozers and stuff use stuff like this.
Right. No, we're gonna make one of those Tonka dump trucks. So you said this is a 10K?
Yeah, this is a 10K.
Okay.
They make bigger ones now. This will cut 6 by 13 foot long. It's in metric, but it's basically 6 foot wide, 13 foot long sheets.
Okay. Obviously all automated, like you're saying. It loads it drops it on, it unloads it, slides it into cut. So then this displays the item that you're cutting at the time?
Right. This is where once the programs are done with the guys in the back office, the operator will get the program onto this screen. This is the last 2 parts that he cut off of those big sheets.
Yep.
And this basically is just where they control everything from. And when you hit go here, the tower starts moving on its own and
Gotcha.
does its
Pulls,
thing.
brings in. Gotcha.
So the operator never has to move from this spot unless it tells you there's an error or something.
Is this all wireless, or is it like a dongle scenario so it knows that it's only one? You're not getting like 12 options.
No, this is actually connected back to our server, and it has its own spot. So whenever he needs to look for a new part, he goes to the specific folder for this laser,
Gotcha.
and then he has all the files in there that he needs, so he can bring them right off our server.
Nice.
Same with our press brakes. Same with our tube laser.
That's nice.
It's all on the server. You can do the dongle, like if we do a one-off thing, or guys are cutting stuff for themselves, which we do all the time. You know.
That's fair.
That's a
Because it
good-
doesn't. Oh, sorry. It doesn't need to take up the server space. It
Right.
doesn't need to.
And or if it's like a prototype or something like that we're not even sure that we're going to stick with, we don't want to clutter up our server, so we just do a one-off on a dongle.
Gotcha.
And the nice thing, I don't know if the camera caught it already, but this sheet laser and our press brakes are both the same brand by Stronic.
Okay.
And we did that on purpose because the software talks to each other. So when you set this machine up to cut that flat pattern, you have to tell it what are you going to bend it with. So the tools that you're going to use, and it knows the radius you're going to end up with. It knows the stretch of that material.
Yep.
So it automatically adjusts our press brakes, and so it's a seamless. You use the same program essentially to cut it as you do to bend it. And
Gotcha.
it's
guaranteed consistency on
Right.
that point. I had a part that I was working on, just a shackle, something simple, but when the company that bent it ended up being a 16th of an inch short on one side.
yeah.
And I'm just like, what the heck's going on? So to that point, like, I didn't realize that those little nuances mattered.
Right.
Right. So now I have to like figure, okay, well, what radius do you have? So that way I can put it into my program. So that way when it goes to you, it comes out correct.
Yep. And a lot of people don't realize that, like, yeah, you can cut a DXF just a flat pattern 2D drawing with this sheet laser. But if you plan on bending it, you can't bend it and it end up being the legs that you want it, because the machine cuts exactly on those lines.
Right.
But when you do a software where you tell it, okay, we need to bend it when it's all done, the software will actually make that flat pattern bigger to compensate, or shorter to compensate for stretch in the material. And a lot of people don't realize that. They'll send us a DXF and say, okay, well, I want a 2-inch leg bent up on this, and it's like, well, that's not working out because you don't have 3 inches here and 2 inches here.
Right.
When you're all said and done, it's too long or too short. So
absolutely.
that's the little nuances that having those two machines cooperate with each other, it kind of eliminates that for us.
That's got to make it easy because it knows the final intended size,
right?
And it just knows it needs to add.
Yep.
So that's really, really cool. So we've cut it out. We're ready to bend it.
So the guys will pick the parts, they put them on the carts, and they'll send it over, ship it over here. So
at this point, it's obviously more manageable parts. We're not ripping out a whole entire sheet.
Right.
So they're just taking.
So this is like one sheet of stainless that you see laying here.
Gotcha.
And this is some of the parts that don't get bent. These are the parts that do get bent.
Okay.
So this is actually for the pellet smoker. This is all stainless. So this will actually be the first all stainless production model that we have built. So he just formed up all the parts. This stuff's ready to go to the weld shop.
Let's take a little peek at that. Wow. That is so tight. Very, very well done.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough a little bit right now when we only do one-offs. So it's a lot of time at the press brake. But when you do 100 of those, I can have a stack of 100 and they all look just like that.
That's beautiful.
So it's,
and that's, I feel like that's probably one of the hardest things when you're trying to scale up anything like this, is creating consistency.
Yeah. And the press brake is not used to, normally it would be a problem. It's not a problem for us for consistency purposes.
So on this one, I'm assuming it tells you exactly where to place. It kind of, does it give it like an image or?
So it actually on the screen, it'll actually show the part and how it's rotated and all that stuff. The back gauges move on its own. I mean, this thing goes as far as there's a light bar on here. When you're first setting this up, it'll tell you exactly how long your tools need to be. And then these little lights light up and it tells you exactly where to put them.
So it'll be like a light here, so you know the piece goes here, and it auto sets the back, and then it just dink.
Yep. And this is only an 80 ton, just for sheet metal purposes, you know, real
only
short.
Only an 80 ton.
Yeah. And then we got the big boy, the 320.
Oh wow!
With a 14-foot bed on it.
You guys been in 14 foot metal over here?
We have big plans here.
Nice.
In a previous business, we actually did a lot of big, heavy manufacturing. We built oil-filled stuff, and we didn't actually manufacture it. Jim was the designer of some oil-filled stuff. I was the construction guy who installed it.
Okay.
So that was a previous business. So we're used to the heavier stuff, and he has some plans of some trailers and different things that need frame rails.
Nice.
So we can bend a 14-foot frame rail on this machine. So
I might have a need for a frame rail here in the future. Yeah. I'll let you know. I honestly did not realize that, and I guess I should have, that frames were bent like that. Like, to me, I'm like, don't they just come in a tube like that, already ready to go?
Yeah, like a C-channel, like they can extrude them. But, you know, the old school way is just to bend them on a press brake.
Bend it up, good to go.
And it's surprising, you run out of tonnage on a 14-foot bed really quick.
Really?
People don't really realize that, but when you get up into the 3/8 thick, it takes a lot of tonnage to bend 14-foot long.
That's fair.
This thing actually had to have like 18 inches of concrete underneath our 8-inch floor just to support it.
That makes sense. These machines, I gotta say, these machines are absolutely amazing. Like, it's super impressive what the industry is coming up with in terms of the automation and being able to, like you were saying earlier, you know, you have X amount of people that work here, and what you're producing and how much you're producing, you would think you would need triple that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's nice, lean, efficient.
Yeah, that was one of the things, like one of our objectives when we started Fossil Industries, before we even started building the grills, was we had sold our old company. We took some time off. COVID hit. We were kind of sitting at home, and Jim was like, "Hey, I really want to get back into doing something." Pittsburgh's always been known for steel and building things, and manufacturing's like leaving here in droves, and so we're like, "Hey, we can build some cool projects, start our own place, and kind of show." There's a lot of young people that aren't interested in machine work and doing this kind of stuff, because when I grew up, it was an inch of dirt on the floor and everybody's all greasy.
Right.
An old machine shop, and
Sparks
this kind of shows
everywhere.
it can be clean, it can be simple, a lot more computers than just hands-on stuff. That was one of our objectives, was to show, once we get up and running and we have some successful products and stuff, is to bring kids in and show them, hey, you can do this. It's not what the old school machine shop was.
Is that kind of like a foundation or thing that you guys are trying to go out and see?
Yeah, we go along with, because Fossil actually has a Fossil Foundation where we do charity work. And we actually hold a benefit concert here every year for the youth clubs. So far, we've done the youth club in McKeesport, which is a local youth club. We've done 2 years for those guys, and we had a great turnout. And then we do veterans. We have all these. We're very patriotic.
Yeah.
We have all the military flags hanging in here, and we do disabled veterans work, where we take a candidate every year and we remodel their house. They're sitting at home waiting for the VA to give them a handicap ramp or money for a handicap bathroom or something. Well, instead of them waiting for the money, we fund them the money. We do all the work, and then they get what they need right now, and then the foundation can wait for the money rather than them wait for it. And we've done 2 houses so far. I mean, big additions, big handicapped accessible decks on the back of their house. The one guy couldn't even fit through his front door. His wheelchair was too big. So he had one outside, one inside, and he was just crawling back and forth. And I mean, he didn't have the money to change that. So we widened the hallways. He even slept on his couch. We widened the hallways. We made a bigger door, put a handicapped bathroom in, and he got to spend some time with his wife. Unfortunately, she passed from cancer recently, but they got a good 3 years as being a couple again.
Actually being able to enjoy the house again and move around.
And so, that's a fulfilling project. We always pick we don't do all of the work ourselves, but we always pick one of the projects for that big project. And we get local volunteers, and we go and physically do it ourselves rather than just put the money up. We actually put the time in. And
make the connection. Absolutely.
So that's always been something that we wanted to do. And when all this becomes successful, it will help fund us to be able to do more for the foundation.
Absolutely.
And less going out and asking for donations and more just funding it through our profits and stuff like that. So.
That's always a very nice feeling. I know I get my joys out of helping people a lot, teaching, education, and I can only imagine the benefits that you're getting compared to the benefits that they're getting. And everyone's ending up in a nice spot, and that's really cool that as a company, as a foundation, you guys are able and willing to give back to the community. That's awesome to hear that you guys are have a philanthropy side of the company. And so I think that's very important. Especially in growth, just in general, because then the community knows who you are, the community knows what you're doing, and they're gonna be there for you if needed too. So, that's really, really cool. The fiber machine, we've got the benders, and now we have this giant tube-looking machine. I have no idea what to call this bad boy.
This is a tube laser, an LT7,
and this is just for cutting tubes, cutting different lengths.
This will cut
shapes,
round, square, rectangular tube. It'll also cut angle iron. Anything up to 27 foot, we can feed a 27-foot stick in, and it'll cut and extrude a 27-foot whole. That could be a whole piece.
Nice.
A lot of them, we actually paid extra for the extended bed, so that we could spit out the same size pieces we can put in.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of these are set up that you're cutting that 27 feet down into smaller parts, but with our trailers, frame rails and stuff, we would want the full
like
length.
full length.
Yeah.
Right. Backside, we got a forklift over there.
Yeah, we can walk back there.
So do we do? So all this is loaded by machine. You're not hand loading. I mean, because I imagine these parts are pretty large, right?
Yeah, so you can hand load some stuff. This particular bar is pretty heavy, and they're 20-foot sticks. So that's like, I don't know exact
that's pretty
thickness, but that's pretty thick stuff.
That's
So
pretty thick stuff.
we try not to break the guys' backs here.
Right.
So we got this cool little combi lift, which drives sideways. That's how it fits back here.
Okay.
And then they'll load this bundle onto here, and then it'll bring that up and just put one bar at a time in the back of the machine.
Gotcha. So these guys are just.
That's actually for loading angle iron. This elevator will actually come up in this situation.
Okay. That makes way more sense.
This will actually come up, and you put angle iron on here, and you space it out, and it'll slowly feed it in that.
Gotcha.
way.
Very cool.
So this is a great machine. A lot of moving parts.
And what kind of, like, obviously from, say, the traditional way of doing this, what kind of improvements are you seeing with this over doing it the traditional way?
Well, this thing, I mean, it'll do miter cuts on your pipe. It'll do chamfered holes. You don't have to do any of that stuff outside.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this replaces the bandsaw, the drill press, any of that stuff that traditionally, we do a lot of work actually with just angle iron.
Okay.
And it's just putting holes and cutting it to length. Nothing
Gotcha.
Fancy, but to have a guy standing there in a shop just doing that all day long is super expensive.
So in my world, we do rock sliders as an example. So you would just slide that tube in, and it would do the cut on the end, and then if there was any other holes it needed, come out, and then you would just be ready to take the other piece, put it together, and weld it.
Right. Yep. So we actually probably have some pieces laying over here that I can show you.
Yeah, I would love to see that. That's super neat. I would, in my mind, when I saw this, I was like, oh, so it just like, cuts them down the length.
Yeah. Actually, this rack right here, we cut all this tube on this machine.
Okay.
So this is one tube. It cut a hole, or it cut a tab, so that this bar has a tab that sticks into it.
Just a little tab like that.
It cuts this joint. It cut these letters out of it. It cut all that stuff, and then this actually was no fixture. It actually like plugs together, and you make sure it's square and weld it. So you don't need a bunch of clamps. You don't need.
And everything's exact.
Yeah.
Every angle's right. Every tab is perfect. That is cool. Wow. Okay, that's really good. So I mean, essentially, it is the flat laser, the table for tubing.
Yep.
Very cool.
It's kind of sometimes weird cutting tube because tube doesn't want to be in the shape of a tube. It wants to come back. If you cut too much of it out, it'll actually start to lay open.
Oh, wow.
It actually doesn't want to be round or square.
I did not know that. It does make sense, though, because I have cut a couple of them, and they kind of go dunk.
Yep.
They bounce out.
So you got to be careful about that kind of stuff. So, but otherwise, this thing's a game changer. That's dust collection.
Okay, so I noticed a similar one over there, but much larger.
Yeah.
So that's just to eliminate dust, to maintain the air quality.
This one actually sucks through the center of the tube. So as you're cutting, it's sucking all that stuff through whatever size tube you have.
Okay.
So it can be smaller because you're not. But the sheet laser is that giant cabinet. Has to be evacuated. So it's a bigger draw. And then it actually sucks the little parts. It'll just catch all the little parts right there.
Very
and
cool.
Just the dust goes into the collector.
How clean that is. Lasers, man.
So if you did have a pipe that you could load by hand, you can put it in the front. So you can manually load it. This is the chuck. It's all the way forward right now, but because they just got done with a bar and they have to reload. But you could manually put the bar in here, or you can have a bundle of pipe load in from the back, and it actually comes down onto this ledge, and then it measures it, tells the machine how long it actually is, puts this head in the right spot, chucks it up.
Everything's checked.
Yep.
I like that.
This is a fairly simple part that was cut on this. You put these 3 small holes in, and then a couple, hole here and there. But imagine the time it takes to saw cut this, jig this up.
Jig it up, make sure it's exact.
Drill all these holes.
Yeah.
this will spit out hundreds of parts in a matter of minutes.
It's so. I mean, the more I see these machines, the more impressed I am.
Here's another. This was pushing the machine to the limit, but we actually cut through this. This is a piece of angle, and we cut through the radius. That's why it's a little bit not as nice a cut right there.
I see. Okay.
But this was like a unique part that the customer asked us to do. Otherwise, they'd have to put this in a machine, like a mill,
Yeah, and
mill that out. This thing would spit that out.
Geez,
this is less than 30 seconds.
I was gonna say that would take me 5 minutes, 10 minutes possibly to get it all nice.
We don't do too much
jig,
of this. This is kind of a unique thing.
That's cool.
Here's aluminum. This was just a
stock.
okay. This is actually a scrap piece. So it'll cut that true miter.
Yeah.
And we don't have to touch it. It's ready. You clean that up a little bit, weld it, and you're good. On this particular machine, anything that fits through a 6-inch circle
Okay.
will fit into
That was
this
going to be my
machine.
next question. Is like, how big can you go?
So it gets weird when you're doing stuff like this. You would think like 5x5 would be okay because it's less than 6,
It's
but it
larger
actually,
than a 6-inch circle
Right.
because the edges would be outside. Okay, gotcha.
So you got to be careful. And then there's a minimum that you can have the difference on a square. An inch thick and 6 inches wide is too much of a range difference.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, this machine is awesome. We cut everything from 1/2 inch up to 6-inch tubing. We even made all these carts and stuff out of scrap.
I was gonna say I would just make all of the fixtures, right? If you need a fixture, let's make it.
This was actually a fixture that we made, that rack. It was just scrap parts.
That's perfect. Nice little bend. Drop all the cuts in. Very cool. Wow, that is a big press. I know you got the big press brake. That's a big press.
The 50-tonner.
Jeez. Thought my 20-ton was fancy.
That's kind of like just our manual type thing.
Come in, do a little touch on something. Adjust.
Actually, we do some production. We actually built our own little jig fixture here. The legs on the Ember grill.
Ah, okay.
There's a little tab that you use to catch your finger on, and they put that in here, and it bends those tabs. That's all that's for.
Ah, okay.
But we can do 4 legs at a time. Just kind of before we automate the whole line type thing. This is kind of our just little stuff that we
figuring out the things, the jigs and things that you would need to automate it.
The actual stamp jigs for those are super. I mean, they're $15,000-$20,000 for a setup that would just stamp that.
Gotcha.
And we're not doing that kind of volume that we need to.
To invest in that.
Not
Absolutely.
yet, anyway. But we know what to do whenever we do come to that.
Yep. So all of these machines, and I know with lasers and stuff like that, you have to have gases and airflow to keep everything running and clean and move all the products out of the way.
Yep.
How do you guys manage all that?
So that's out through this door right here. We actually have 2 compressors that feed the shop air, the nitrogen, and we can actually cut on shop air as well, high pressure shop air. So this is our oxygen supply. So we have bottled oxygen, and then that's pure nitrogen for a head purge.
Okay.
That's just for the one laser. But all the cutting gases.
It needs all that?
Well, that lasts us about 6 months.
Oh,
It's a very small flow.
Okay.
24 hours a day, so we just let the bottles take care of that.
That makes sense. Gotcha, because it's got to always be clean.
Yeah.
Right.
So through here, might get a little loud in here, but here's our 2 compressors. And we actually do heat recovery in the wintertime. These 2 compressors will actually heat the shop, so we don't have to use the furnaces.
Smart.
And in the summertime, it actually blows it outside and brings fresh air into this room to keep the compressors cool.
Gotcha.
And that's all. You just flip a switch and
super smart. Did you guys design all this? Is this
it's a Liberty system, but the heat recovery and all that stuff we said this is what we want.
That's cool. That's super cool.
So it fills these two compressors fill these 2 holding tanks. So that's bulk air. Our chiller, it goes through some filtration, comes into our nitrogen generator towers. Those 2 towers are filling that tank with.
So you're making your own nitrogen too?
Yep, 99.95% nitrogen right now.
Wow. Okay.
Actually,
I really like that.
Yeah, so we're at 99.94 pure oxygen or pure nitrogen. So then these two pumps here, one is for compressed air and one is for the nitrogen, but it boosts them to 400. That's 115 to 120 psi.
Gotcha.
This boosts up to 420 psi, and that's what we use to cut with.
Okay. Okay. Liberty Systems. I got to plan out my factory, you know,
Yeah.
one day down the road.
Well, it's this factory, this building has been planned out. Like, I mean, everything from putting the tubing through the floor. That's what this trench is here. Mm-hmm. All those lines come out and they feed the center of the shop, and then all the gases feed different directions. With this system, we can add one more laser. And then if we add one more nitrogen tower, we can actually expand to 4 lasers, all running off that one system.
Nice.
And then all of that gray track right below our crane rails, that's all electrical. There's 480 volt electricity there. So we can plug all these machines in. We can move them if we wanted to.
On that note, it sounds like the building itself you guys designed.
Yeah.
This wasn't like an out. This was like this is all you guys.
We broke ground here in 2022, 21. I don't remember. March of 21, I think it was. And yeah, we built everything from the ground up. I was here from the day that they dug the footers to I haven't left. So,
That's
and Jim
awesome.
kind of thought out, like, we knew the machines we were buying. So we designed the building around the layout of those machines. So that's our tube laser put where we wanted it. The sheet laser is actually custom. The automation is custom designed for us. For that shape.
space.
Yeah,
I
for
gotcha.
the shape that we had. So it could actually take both half of the building, use up both spaces. And then kind of the flow of coming through the sheet laser to the press brake and then out this way. All the cut parts for the tubes that all go that way. And then the building itself is actually expandable. That end wall, those supports don't need to be there. So that if you build a normal building, the end wall typically has a smaller beam across and you have to have the supports. So this wall we have the bigger beam so we can take the supports out, knock that whole wall down, and we have a whole another building already drawn up.
Wow.
And laid out.
Ready for the expansion.
For the expansion.
I like it.
We try to do the same thing with our products as we did with the building. Like, we try to think ahead, and we don't just put something out there until that's why we test it so much. We're cooking on those things almost every day, using our own products every day so that we can put the best thing out there the first time rather than in 5 years we worked out all the bugs type thing. We hope we have all that stuff worked out before we ever put it on the market.
Right. Which I agree with 100%. I don't feel that the consumers should be the beta testers.
Right.
You know, and then you're just running the I got to fix this. I got to fix this. I got to fix this. Yep.
And like I said, this place is we built this for a lot more than just building the grills. We have trailers and we have a bunch of other products that we want to build. And then for other customers, we don't know what they're going to bring to us.
Right,
so
right.
we want to be able to fit everybody's needs.
So if amazing facility, so much production capability, do you have like a system set up to where you're going to like fill in that empty production time with other companies? Or like what other companies might you be working with?
So we work with Trucks, which is an overlanding supplier for, you guys are well familiar with them.
Yeah. Excellent.
And, so we cut a lot of his parts. We're working with a guy for some hunting equipment. We want to partner with companies like that. Truck is a small company, coming up. We want to partner with those kind of guys, help them get on, the right track, and it helps us too because Ben at Truck, he's got great ideas, and we can learn from each other type deal.
Right.
And
he's a pretty smart guy. I like him.
And we have a lot of customers like that, local machine shops that, like I said, used to bandsaw their angle iron and stuff. We work closely with them, and then we learn from each other whenever, hey, we can do this different for you. Something maybe they didn't think of or they didn't know was possible because they don't have these machines.
Right.
So, or something we didn't realize that they do that we never even knew was a
because they've been doing it for
Right.
50 years or however long they might have been.
Yeah, so it's good to build relationships like that, and we don't want to be like supplying 10,000 of the same part to, someone who's never even seen our shop. Most of our customers have come here, been physically in this shop. We have a relationship with them, and we like to keep it that way.
Absolutely.
We're not really just cranking parts out. We don't care what they are or where they're going or anything like that. We want to invest in everything that comes out the door instead of just making money, I guess.
Right. No, that's totally understandable. Help everyone around us, right? Help the community. Everyone can grow together.
Yep.
As long as everyone's working together. Absolutely. I like that. That's a great mentality. They're cutting some really good stuff over here.
Yeah, you can see that's spitting the parts out the front here, but that machine actually has a table in the back. So if you were cutting multiple parts, you can tell it, well, part A, I want to go out the back. Part B, I want you to come out the front. And actually, there's more than one table there in front, so you can put your longer stuff out the front.
Gotcha.
But you also have the option of, if you have little 3-inch pieces, you can have part A come out right against the end of the laser.
Yep.
Part B can come out 15 inches down, and you can have bins sitting there, and it just fills bins. This machine is amazing in that respect.
That's so cool to think that if I wanted to come up with a product, I could come up with that product and find, you guys come over here and be like, hey, I've got this idea. What do you think about it? What can we make it better? What can we do? And then can we bring it to the market? And you could potentially help with that aspect all the way through.
Yep, absolutely. And we actually tell our employees, like, if they have something, like, there's always employees that have ideas and I can make this better. When we're like, don't keep it to yourself. Let us know if you come up with something that works, and we even have a system set up to let them benefit from their own idea rather than the company get it all.
Yep.
We'll make it for you if that's the case type
Very
deal.
Cool. It's like, this is your idea. We can do this.
And it's just about bringing jobs, bringing manufacturing back to Pittsburgh area, and letting people use their creative side. I'm all about, with my kids and stuff. You saying about the 3D CADs and stuff. I went from SolidWorks to now I'm trying to help my son design action figures and stuff. Well, SolidWorks doesn't do the modeling as much as some of the other. So now I got to learn different 3D CAD, and then we're 3D printing stuff. So we're all about people using their creative side and getting that out there, because it's just going to make things better.
Absolutely. The more creative people out there, I feel like the better the world is going to be. We're going to move in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, and everybody knows somebody that's like, oh, I had that idea 30 years ago.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, and then we have the weld shop, which we actually have
we haven't gone back there yet.
Yeah, we have a laser welder down there.
Is that an arm, like an automated?
No, it's not robotic yet,
okay.
But we got it to try to get us into.
Baby steps, right?
Yeah, so we're kind of just playing around with it. It's a little bit different than what we're used to. Our welder down here, MIG and TIG mostly, but he's, old school, railroad type guy, burning rod.
Oh yeah.
So
it's structurally sound.
Laser beams and stuff are a little bit, out there. But so this is our makeshift weld shop until our addition is built.
Have you seen? Well, of course you have, but we just purchased a pinhole welding table.
Yeah, so we made one.
Very nice.
It's not certified flat.
Okay.
But we made one just to see how good the sheet laser would do.
Yeah, exactly.
So we made that ourselves. Like I said, it's not certified flat, but the clamps and everything work with it for jigging and.
Gotcha. Like we just ordered. It's this big. I mean, we're just a little bit of shop.
When they're machined flat and all that stuff, it gets pretty expensive when you get real big tables.
Oh,
we'd love to have one the size of this thing.
Right.
But
isn't that certified flat?
No.
Damn.
No, that's actually a byproduct from our.
Slide it through, drill some holes in it.
That's a byproduct of our old company. Those leftover plates that we had for the oil field, and we actually turned it into some tables.
Gotcha.
So we can beat on those and weld to them, and we don't have to worry about hurting them.
Right. Is aluminum?
Yep. This is actually a
TIG weld?
Yeah.
Nice.
This is a frame we're building for the tree stand guy. So this is all cut on the tube laser. This is a piece of sheet, and it all jigs together like that. And
I was expecting this to have a little movement, but this is tight. This is.
It's welded from underneath.
Ah, okay. Sneaky, sneaky. I'm like, man, that is so clean.
But it actually tabs in. This tube has a hole in it.
Okay.
Back here, there's 3 holes, I think, and then 1 on each side. And this part has a tab that slides right into all those.
So probably use tacking to this to create the square, and then go in there.
Yep, and then these are all holes laser cut for like a nut cert.
Okay. And what is this for again?
This is for a tree stand
okay,
platform.
Cool. Yeah.
So this is another customer of ours. This is some of their formed parts that we haven't got to yet.
Gotcha. I love that you guys are willing. You know, not everyone's willing to take on small projects.
Yeah.
You know, like
when that's
awesome.
4 units. It's kind of like a prototype thing for that guy.
Yeah.
We're putting it together for him, kind of giving him a cost of what he's gonna get into down the road.
Yep.
And
if you want to bring it to the market kind of thing. Yeah. I noticed there's a massive amount of space in this place.
Yeah, we like the clear floor space. A lot of people would say that this is more floor space than you need, but I don't want to be tripping over things.
Yeah. I mean, I love being able to just walk around like this and just kind of feel very open and free in essence. But
and this is like our makeshift shipping area.
Yeah. This is big enough to basically pull a semi-truck in here, right?
Yeah, so that was one of the forward thinking by Jim's. He didn't want to unload trucks outside in the cold, and we're in Pennsylvania.
That's fair.
So we got snow and ice and all that stuff. So truck drivers love it because they can come in, they use the break room, and
just hang out while you guys
hang out while we unload, and they can fold their tarps up on a nice dry concrete.
Pull through.
Pull straight through.
Right through. Obviously, great to get all the runoff because winter time's going to bring in the weather. Very cool. So that's super smart, man. Because I mean, I know the winters can get hard out here, and it gets pretty gross. So that's got to be very, very nice.
Well, and that's a lot of the materials. We don't want them to get wet, so they unload and they go right on the shelving, or right on the ready to be cut type area. So.
Yeah, you are dealing with a lot of raw materials, so that you don't want any kind of moistures getting on all that stuff.
And that way, like especially with the tubing, because we can do 27-foot sticks, you can't pick that up with a forklift and drive it through the door.
Right. It has to be in
now
there.
The combi lift will do that, but you have to take it outside, and so it's just better to be inside here. And,
no, that makes sense. You don't want no nasty outside dirt on those wheels.
Yeah. We keep the floors clean. I always tell people that we had our floor scrubber bought before we actually poured the concrete for the floor, because that was a must-have. Is the floors stay clean. We don't want to be tracking dirt everywhere and having an inch of dirt in the corners and cobwebs. And although we do have quite a healthy supply of spiders living in the floor here, but we keep their webs cleaned up.
Yeah, the spiders are good. They keep all the other bugs out, so it works out well. What is these guys over here?
So that's just a pallet wrapper, so you can set the pallet on there and hook the saran wrap up to it, hit a button, and it wraps the pallet for you.
Just auto spins, right?
It's it actually has a sensor on it to detect the height of your pallet and everything, so it'll wrap to the top and then come back down. You can tell it how many wraps you want to do.
Very cool.
And it's actually hooked up to a scale. So this is a scale. You can see the scale light up on the wall there. So when we're wrapping it, and
don't tell anyone.
The only downside is we were going to have a competition to see who could stay on that thing the longest and it spins. But on manual mode, it spins real slow. So
gotcha. You can't speed it up.
Safety features,
Gotcha.
Ruin everybody's
It's
fun.
like they know we're going to jump on there and play rodeo. Is that the infamous scrubber?
That's the scrubber. That's one of those after hours.
Yeah.
You get a cold drink and you
just run
like running a lawnmower.
Gotcha. Oh, you gotta get into the Walmart game. You got the auto ones. They just drive around by themselves, right? You know what's got to do with that at night. I love the flow here. It's great. Yeah, the more we're gonna see these different facilities and stuff like that. I've noticed. I guess people who have a better understanding of like assembly line, having things flow, so you're not walking here, then walking there, then walking back over here to do a project. You're taking that project, you're moving it going to the next spot, you're moving it, you're going to the next spot, and then it goes out the door.
Right. And we wanted like our flow to be small parts at this end, forming, tube stuff, all flowing down to the weld shop. Once they become a big fixture, the grills and stuff aren't that hard to move around.
Yeah.
But like trailers and stuff like that, you're talking about a 30-foot welded unit.
Yeah.
It's hard to move through everything else,
That
so
makes sense. Have it all on one end.
yeah, we're working to flow that direction. So.
Nice. And then when that expands, which I know it's going to happen, then you just keep pushing it on down.
Yep.
Add another laser machine, add another tube cutter. That'll be cool. I don't know if you need more, but yeah.
Well, I said, the sheet laser and the tube laser can do as many parts as we could assemble here, even with the expansion.
Okay.
They could cut a year's worth of grill parts in a couple weeks, and we wouldn't have to cut any more parts the rest of the year.
Gotcha.
So all that downtime is what we're filling up with the fossil and selling the machine time to outside vendors is just to fill that, because we don't have.
Nice.
We would have to sell a lot of grills.
If you are looking to bring a product to fruition and you want to figure out what it takes, talk to these guys. They can help you out.
So we can look at these products right here. That's the bed plug I was telling you about. So this bolts into the bed of a Dodge truck. This is the center for the puck system.
Yep.
So that will just slide out like that. This stays as part of your bed, and this you throw in the door of the truck.
Gotcha.
And your fifth wheel, or this actually would be the ball in the center.
Okay.
Then whenever you take the ball out, you just
slide it back in. You're good to go. Carry whatever you need.
And this was one of those cool things. Like, I designed this because my brother wanted one. That's where this came from. So you can't get under the truck to put a nut, to bolt this down to the bed. You can't get under there because there's all these brackets and stuff. So the way we designed this is this piece here is your nut.
Okay.
And it fits through the hole in the bed. And you can start one screw down through this hole, basically. You start the hole, and then you push that moon-shaped part into place. You can put the other screws in, and one guy can put this together without ever climbing under the truck.
Nice.
Unless you drop a screw, which...
I always drop the screw.
So that's one product that is for sale on the Fossil website.
Okay.
And then this is another one of those deals where we needed something.
Yep.
It wasn't available. GM discontinued the bracket for this.
Okay.
And so we made one here. This takes like 10 seconds to cut out on it. It takes longer to etch the Fossil Industries into it than it does to cut it.
Yeah.
And this just chips out, and you form it by hand, and these sides here.
These sides?
It's 18 gauge, so it's not like super easy to form.
Okay, so put a pair of pliers on it, or put it into a little vise. And
when we were testing it, I formed it, and then no one else could form it. And then I was like, well, you can use pliers.
Right. That's nice. So this is just going to be a plug holder.
Yep.
For your trailer?
There's a plastic. It's actually for the bed of the truck, under the bed.
Oh, okay.
And there's a plastic insert that goes in here that has 4 plugs in it. That's still available.
Gotcha.
But you can't buy this bracket for it.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, once they all start rusting out, which it seems like they're on their way out, if people know where to get it, they're going to get it,
And that's a lot of for that thing, it's been purely an organic thing. We put it on eBay and Amazon with no advertising whatsoever. And, we're selling 10 of them a week with no advertising whatsoever. Nice. Nobody even knows it exists until they're looking for that particular bracket.
Exactly.
And so we sell quite a bit of them.
That's the way to go, man. Anywhere you can do organic growth and not have to spend ad dollars and cents, yeah. Now we know how they're made, all the work that goes into them, and some of the offerings that, the Fossil Industries offers as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be really good for people in the local community, being able to bring products to the world if they come up with good ideas.
Yeah.
That's super exciting, man. I really want to say thank you so much for having us out here.
Yeah, thanks for
showing
coming.
us everything. This has been really impressive, and I'm super excited about to get over to Ben's and see what all he has going on with trucks and how he utilizes the partnership with you in building his product.
Well, I'm anxious to see that too, because I don't even know all the stuff that Ben makes. We make some of it, but not everything. So.
Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.